Welcome to the epic story of World War II, the conflict that engulfed the globe and reshaped history. Over the next 10 minutes, we'll journey through the key events, the turning points, and the human stories behind the war that changed the world forever. Stay with us as we explore the bravery, the strategy, and the sacrifices that defined this monumental conflict. We will delve into the origins of the war, the rise of totalitarian regimes, and the alliances that shaped the battlefield. From the beaches of Normandy to the streets of Berlin, from the Pacific Islands to the deserts of North Africa, we will cover the vast theaters of war. Join us as we uncover the legacy of World War II and its lasting impact on the modern world. This is a story of courage, resilience, and the enduring human spirit. We will explore the technological advancements and the strategic innovations that emerged from the war. The war not only changed the geopolitical landscape but also had profound effects on society, culture, and technology. As we navigate through this monumental conflict, we will also reflect on the lessons learned and the importance of remembering history. So join us on this journey through one of the most significant periods in human history. This is World War II, the epic clash that changed the world forever. We will explore the technological advancements and the strategic innovations that emerged from the war. The war not only changed the geopolitical landscape but also had profound effects on society, culture, and technology. As we navigate through this monumental conflict, we will also reflect on the lessons learned and the importance of remembering history. So join us on this journey through one of the most significant periods in human history. This is World War II, the epic clash that changed the world forever. The seeds of World War II were planted in the aftermath of the First World War. The Treaty of Versailles, meant to ensure lasting peace, instead fostered resentment and economic despair. Germany, burdened with heavy reparations and economic turmoil, saw the rise of Adolf Hitler, a man who promised to restore the nation's former glory. Across Europe and Asia, authoritarian regimes were on the rise, each driven by a thirst for expansion and power. In Italy, Benito Mussolini established a fascist state, while in Japan, militarists sought to dominate Asia. The world was a powder keg, and it was only a matter of time before it exploded. On September 1, 1939, the world was plunged into darkness as Germany unleashed its Blitzkrieg, lightning war, on Poland. The speed and ferocity of the German assault caught the world off guard. Within weeks, Poland was overwhelmed, and Britain and France declared war on Germany. But this was just the beginning. Hitler's ambitions were not confined to Poland. His eyes were set on all of Europe. In the spring of 1940, Germany launched a series of rapid invasions across Western Europe, including Denmark, Norway, Belgium, and France. The fall of France in June 1940 sent shockwaves around the world. Britain now stood alone against the Nazi war machine. The summer of 1940 saw the skies over Britain light up with the fury of war. The Battle of Britain was Hitler's attempt to crush the last remaining opposition in Western Europe. The Luftwaffe launched relentless air raids on British cities, with London bearing the brunt of the attacks in what became known as the Blitz. But the British people, led by Prime Minister Winston Churchill, stood firm. The Royal Air Force, with its brave pilots, fought off the German onslaught. Churchill's defiant words, "We shall fight on the beaches, we shall never surrender," became the rallying cry of a nation. Hitler's plans for invasion were thwarted, marking the first major defeat for the Nazis in the war. Part 4. The expansion of the war. While Britain held its ground, the Axis powers continued their aggressive expansion. Italy moved into North Africa, aiming to build a new Roman Empire, while Japan invaded China and Southeast Asia, seeking to establish its dominance in the Pacific. In June 1941, Hitler made a fateful decision: Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union. It was the largest military operation in history, with millions of German troops pouring across the border. The early months saw staggering victories for the Nazis, as they pushed deep into Soviet territory. But the harsh Russian winter and fierce Soviet resistance brought the German advance to a grinding halt. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, The United States was drawn into the conflict after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. The attack, which aimed to cripple the U.S. Pacific Fleet, instead galvanized the American people. The U.S. declared war on Japan, and soon after, Germany and Italy declared war on the U.S., turning the conflict into a truly global war. Part 5. The Turning Points. 1942 was a year of turning points. In the Soviet Union, the Battle of Stalingrad became a brutal, drawn-out siege, with both sides suffering massive casualties. But the Soviets held on, and in February 1943, the German Sixth Army surrendered. This marked the beginning of the Nazi retreat on the Eastern Front. In the Pacific, the Battle of Midway, in June 1942, was a decisive victory for the United States. The Japanese fleet suffered irreparable losses, and the momentum in the Pacific shifted in favor of the Allies. In North Africa, the British Eighth Army, under General Bernard Montgomery, defeated Rommel's Afrika Korps at the Battle of El Alamein. This victory paved the way for the Allied invasion of Italy, which eventually led to Mussolini's downfall. June 6, 1944, D-Day, saw the largest amphibious invasion in history as Allied forces landed on the beaches of Normandy. Despite heavy resistance, the Allies established a foothold in Europe, and within months, Paris was liberated. The Nazi regime was now fighting a war on two fronts, and the end was in sight. Part 6. The Final Phase, and the Horrors Revealed. As the Allies pushed into Germany from the west and the Soviets from the east, the full horrors of the Nazi regime were uncovered. Concentration camps where millions had been murdered in the Holocaust were liberated. The world was shocked by the scale of the atrocities committed in the name of racial purity. In April 1945, as Allied forces closed in on Berlin, Hitler took his own life in his underground bunker. A week later, Germany surrendered, ending the war in Europe. But in the Pacific, the war raged on. The Japanese, despite heavy losses, refused to surrender. In August 1945, the United States made a controversial decision. President Harry Truman ordered the use of atomic bombs on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The devastation was unimaginable, and on August 15, 1945, Japan finally surrendered, bringing World War II to an end. Part 7. The Aftermath and the Dawn of a New World Order. The world emerged from World War II forever changed. The war had claimed the lives of over 60 million people, leaving vast regions of Europe and Asia in ruins. But it also marked the beginning of a new era. The Nuremberg trials brought Nazi war criminals to justice, while the United Nations was established in 1945 to promote peace and prevent future conflicts. The war also set the stage for the Cold War, a new global conflict between the United States and the Soviet Union that would dominate international relations for the next 4 decades. In the years following the war, Europe and Japan underwent remarkable transformations. The Marshall Plan, initiated by the United States, helped rebuild war-torn Europe, leading to unprecedented economic growth. Japan, under American occupation, was transformed into a peaceful and prosperous democracy. But the legacy of World War II goes beyond politics and economics. The war reshaped societies, challenged old ideas about race and empire, and led to the decolonization of much of Asia and Africa. It also left a lasting impact on the arts, culture, and our collective memory. Outro. Thank you for joining us on this journey through World War II. The conflict that began in 1939 and ended in 1945 was not just a series of battles. It was a defining moment in human history. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories from history that have shaped the world we live in today.